call to order the Tuesday, September 28th, 2021 regular City Council, Portsmouth City Council meeting. Can we please stand for a moment of silence? Pledge your allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everybody for being in attendance. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle.
Here.
Mrs. Lucasberg. Here. Mr. Moody.
Here.
Dr. Whitaker.
Present.
Mr. Woodard.
Here.
Mayor Glover is absent. Vice Mayor Barnes.
Here. Members of council, we have for our consideration the minutes of a call meeting on September 14, 2021, and of a regular meeting on September 14, 2021. Is there any discussion of the minutes? If not, can we get a motion?
Move adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle.
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg.
Yes.
Mr. Moody.
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Woodard.
Yes.
Mayor Glover is absent. Vice Mayor Barnes.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read our speaker statement.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, City Council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. As you approach the speaker's podium, you will notice a timer. At the beginning of your 5 minutes, you will see a green light. 4 minutes into your remarks, you will notice a yellow light. At the end of 5 minutes, you will see a red light, hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude his or her comments.
City Manager's Report 21-287. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item.
Yes, sir. An ordinance accepting substance abuse block grant funding from the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services in the amount of $107,925 and appropriating said amount in the FY 2022 Behavioral Health Care Service Fund for substance abuse prevention.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. May you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Mayor Glover is absent. Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. And we do have a speaker on this matter, Ms. Donna Sy.
No, sir. It's the next item.
Oh, you.
288.
Council members, is there any discussion?
Next item.
It's okay.
Our next item is 21-288. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item.
Yes, sir. An ordinance, one, transferring and appropriating $1,150,000 in appropriation authority from the West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project in the FY 2022 Public Utilities Capital Improvement Fund budget to the Low Pressure Transmission Main Project in the FY 2022 Public Utilities Capital Improvement Fund budget, and two, transferring and appropriating $1,150,000 from the West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project to the Schools Improvement category of the FY 2022 Capital Improvement Fund budget.
Council members, do we have a motion and a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Call the roll, please. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We do have a speaker on this matter. This is Ms. Donasai.
Good evening. My name is Donna Sy, and I live at 3104 Garland Drive in the Woodbine Farms neighborhood in District 5, Churchland. Agenda item 21-288 is an order to transfer $1,150,000 from the West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project noted in the Public Utilities Capital Improvement Fund budget for the year 2022, and award this money to the low pressure transmission main project. Now, this order is to transfer funds from the West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project for $1,150,000 to the low pressure transmission mains. There is no money in the West Norfolk water line. Let's look at the budget book on page 208 for the report of the low pressure transmission mains. The cost of the project is assessed at $77,250,000. The public utilities revenue bonds, $76,250,000, and transfer from public utilities fund, $1 million. So why is there an order to transfer funds from the West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project for $1,150,000? There is no money in the West Norfolk water line. The second project is to transfer the same amount of money from the West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project to one or more school categories for the year 2022 Capital Improvement Fund. If the elected would look in the budget book, pages 245 to 257, under school categories, you will see all the 14 projects have money allotted to them. Why has the city manager put agenda item 21-288 on the agenda? Because all the school projects are financed. So the 14 projects are listed in the report I've given, so I'm not going to read them all. So note in the budget book all the funding being transferred out of the Public Utilities Fund. Now, the order is to transfer funds West Norfolk Water Upgrade Project for $1,150,000 to the low pressure transmission main. See the money in the Public Utilities Funds? There is no money in the West Norfolk water lines. So it just makes a list of all the funding from the Public Utilities Fund, which makes me wonder, questions about our money. It's our money, and we the people are the government, and we are allowed to self-govern until we hit to the elected in Portsmouth. They make decisions for us. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Do we have any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg? Yes. Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. Now we go to 21-289. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to reappropriate unexpended funds in the amount of $8,002,867 from the FY 2021 Portsmouth Public Schools General Fund budget as follows: $3,602,867 to the FY 2022 Portsmouth Public Schools General Fund budget, $2 million to the FY 2022 Portsmouth Public Schools Textbook Fund budget, and $2,400,000 to the FY 2022 Portsmouth Public Schools Food Service Fund budget.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Move for adoption.
Second.
And we do have a speaker on this, Ms. Donasai.
Good evening. My name is Donna Sy, and I live at 3104 Garland Drive in the Woodbine Farms neighborhood in District 5, Churchland. Agenda item 21-289 is an order to use the unspent funds from the general fund of the public school system for $8 million for the year 2021 and divide the funds up into the general fund of over $3 million. The textbook fund of $2 million, and the food service of over $2 million for the year 2022. In the budget book, page 36, there's a funding source for the school general fund for $164,229,188. All right, so now you want to divide this extra money of over $3 million, which will make over $167 million. In the operating budget, it calls for, operating budget for the school is $168,076,770. So there's not enough money in the operations budget for the operations. There's not enough money. So in the school textbook fund of over $1,417,605, you're going to add $2 million, which is going to make it over $3 million. The operating budget says it's going to be $1,374,987. So that's going to make over the operating budget of over $2 million. Then the school food service fund is $8,788,275, and so with the increase in funding over $2,400,000, that's going to make over the operating budget of over $11 million, and the operating budget is over $8 million. So why is all our money left over? How come the accounting off so much? Someone is not taking care of the business of the school buildings being repaired and borrowing money for a roof replacement and purchasing of buses. Where is the accounting for the food service and textbook fund?
Thank you. Council members, do we have any discussion? Madam Clerk, please read the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. 21-290. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to reappropriate unexpended funds in the amount of $1,520,456 from the FY 2021 Portsmouth Public Schools Grant Fund budget to the FY 2022 Portsmouth Public Schools Grant Fund budget.
Council members, do we have a motion and a second?
Move adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. We do have another speaker, Ms. Donna Sy.
Good evening. My name is Donna Sy. I live at 3104 Garland Drive in the Woodbine Farms neighborhood in District 5, Churchland. Agenda item 21-290 is to transfer $1,520,456 of unspent schools grant money for the year 2021 to the year 2022 school grant fund budget. In the budget book, page 36, is the funding sources for the school system. The grant fund for the school system is $18,211,197, and then transfer unspent money of $1,520,456, which makes that amount of money, $19,731,653. And the operating budget record reports $19,969,529. So that amount of money is not even meeting the operating budget record. And this amount that's not meeting that budget, operating budget, is $237,876. So I'm just saying, if I'm not getting correct figures and adding and subtracting right, I've asked for a meeting with the finance officer and the city manager so that I would get up here and saying the right thing. So, and of course, I was refused, but the audit has to come first, not the citizens.
I do have a question regarding that. Is it standard practice to not be able to meet with the people that she's requiring to meet for?
This is the first I'm aware of a meeting request for me, so I can't, it's not a practice. I meet with everyone that requests a meeting with me, so this is the first I'm hearing of that.
So can we get with her after the meeting to set up a meeting with her?
I will call her and check my schedule and set a meeting at that time.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. 21-291. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to reappropriate unexpended funds in the amount of $1,544,748 from the FY 2021 Portsmouth Public Schools Risk Management Fund budget to the FY 2022 Portsmouth Public Schools Risk Management Fund budget.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. We do have a speaker, Ms. Donna Sy.
Good evening. My name is Donna Sy. I live at 3104 Garland Drive in the Woodbine Farms neighborhood in District 5, Churchland. Agenda item 21-291 is an order for the unspent money for the school system's risk management fund for the year 2021 of $1,544,748 and transfer the money to the school's system risk management fund for the year 2022. The funding sources for the school system in the budget book says that the school risk management fund is $21,134,670. So adding this $1,544,748 makes, when you add it together, $22,679,418. And the operating budget for the risk management fund is $21,423,000. So this amount of money is over the budget of $1,256,418. So I'm finished speaking for tonight.
Council members, do we have any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. The next one is 21-292. Madam Clerk, can you please read the ordinance?
A resolution certifying the City of Portsmouth's support of an application for a Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development Port Host Communities Grant in the amount of $1 million in furtherance of the development of 3301 Shipwright Street for port-related uses.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Move adoption.
Second.
And we do not have any speakers. Do we have any discussion from council? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir, Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. Now we move on to new business, boards and commissions. Dr. Whitaker, are there any appointments to bring forward to council consideration?
Not tonight.
Thank you. Next, we move to our items submitted by council members. Madam Clerk, we have two ordinances. Could you read the first one? 21-294.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to amend Article 10 of Chapter 2 of the Code of the City of Portsmouth, Virginia Planning Commission by deleting Section 2-528 pertaining to compensation for planning commissioners.
Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
And we do have, no, we do not have a speaker on this. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucasberg?
No.
Mr. Moody?
No.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. Now we move on to the next one, which is B. Madam Clerk, could you please read the resolution pertaining to this issue?
Yes, sir. A resolution and directing the payment of a stipend to members of certain boards and commissions.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Move for approval.
Second.
And we do have two speakers on this issue. The first one is Mr. Ray Smith.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members, staff. I'm here just as asking and requesting that you consider carefully what you're proposing to do. Since Portsmouth, that I know, has started boards and commissions over the years, citizens took pride and heartfelt love for volunteering, and that's exactly over the years the way things have evolved. I understand times change, things are different, but I believe we're stepping into some uncharted waters when we start paying, and only out of the 28 boards and commissions, we're going to just pay four that are the high profile, so to speak. What about all of the other 24 boards and commissions? I know some of them also don't even meet on a regular basis, even though those groups also. But I would just encourage you to, think carefully about that. I myself, being on the EDA, I will refuse the money that will be given to me as a stipend, and quite a number of the other members on my board have expressed that also. I don't think it's the time, and I don't think it's something that we should be doing at this time. It opens the doors for folks doing things for money, and that's not the spirit of volunteerism. And I just ask that you, be cautious and reconsider voting to do this tonight. Thank you.
Councilman Battle.
You want me or? Oh, you.
I'd like to know, Mr. Smith, how does it open the door for corruption?
I didn't say corruption.
Well,
That wasn't a word that I used.
What word did you use?
I said it opened the doors for a number of things, a lot of things.
Oh,
Number one, folks doing it for money. That's what I said, exactly. Folks doing it for money, those aren't the motivating factors behind volunteerism. And, you know, and then there's the question of, you know, I guess you're gonna pay $100 per meeting. What about other meetings, call meetings? Are these just the regular meetings?
but that's not a lot of money, $100 for a person volunteering. Our thought is that it very well may spur a greater interest.
Money will.
Well, we're hoping that it does. And you're on one of those high-profile boards.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Mark G. Well, that's what I always call him.
Good evening, Acting Mayor B. and council members and other citizens, other neighbors. So I am very much on board with Mr. Smith's thinking, although we have not conferred previously, that among all the boards and commissions, for you to designate a handful as being important enough to remunerate the members, and the rest, what are they, chopped liver, unimportant, second string, whatever. I don't think that sends the right message. I could support this idea if it involved a stipend to members of all boards and commissions in the city. On this basis, if somebody was interested in serving the city, but his or her job was an obstacle, that is to say, his or her employer would not give that person time off because some of these boards meet during work time. We do have a 3-shift sort of system in America, so conceivably any time of day or night, your job could be going on. So if these people could not get time off to serve on the board, I would be in favor of providing a stipend to offset lost wages for people who are interested in serving. I would not want that to be a barrier to service. But willy-nilly to say that across the board, we're going to give you the money whether you need it or not. I mean, there are some millionaires in this city. One member of council proclaimed that last meeting. What's $100 to a millionaire? So this is money coming out of a general fund that is not overflowing with money. I've lived here 25 years, and there's always been more mouths to feed, figuratively speaking, than dollars to go around. So I think we need to be judicious. And I think we need to target our scarce resources to those who are in need. So if you were to modify this resolution along the lines that I've suggested, completely inclusive, and to reimburse people who would otherwise be unable to serve, then that would work for me. I want to note a little technical glitch in your resolution. It says adopted, the closing line says adopted at a virtual meeting on our current date. This does not look like a virtual meeting to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're gonna go with Councilman Battle and then Councilwoman Burke. Ms. Burke, he wanna let you go first.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. I can appreciate the comments coming from our former council member, Mr. Ray Smith, and our citizen, Mark Gadoji-Yatrowski. I am of the same mindset with you all. As a person who was a former member of the Economic Development Authority and served in various positions and as chair before coming on the council in 2016, I volunteered my time because that is what I wanted to do for the city. I put it on my resume, I talked about it, I bragged about it, and wasn't willing to take a dime from a person for that work that I freely gave to the city, which brought great development to the city, brought money to the city, and that was the pride that I took in serving. And I think that is the same pride that some of the members who serve on boards and commissions take when they choose to serve. I do believe that if we choose to pick the revenue-generating boards, PRHA, Planning Commission, our with the PPIC, and one other, EDA, you know, what are we saying to our members who serve on social services and parks and recreation and our parking authority, that their time volunteered doesn't matter? And I also think that as we as council members, we get to pick who appoints, who gets to serve on these boards and commissions. You submit applications, we pick the names of some people who we believe have the skill sets, and maybe some of them don't even have the skill sets, and maybe some of them are friends or relatives or what other, and then we're gonna turn around and give them $100. I see conflict in that all day long, and for that reason, I will be voting against this resolution. I have talked to board members on both sides of the revenue-generating boards and those who are serving out of the goodness of their hearts, and they don't agree with it. I haven't found one person who does agree with it. Even the persons who said that they would take the money, they were going to give it to charity, you know, so what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't think we thought this out all the way through. I think we need to revisit it, scratch it, or deny it. So I will be voting no.
I do have one question for Councilman Battle. Do they have to take it?
No, they don't have to take it.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Councilman Battle.
Let me say that I am a 73-year-old male, and I've been in this city all my life. I've worked for the citizens all my life. I've never gotten paid. When my kids needed things and I saw other kids needed things much greater than mine, I gave to those kids. Let me reiterate, not any man in this city has given of his own money, out of his own pocket, than I have. I've never taken a dime. I've worked Little League, Pop Warner. I've organized. I've created. I've been involved in more revitalization than anybody. But sometimes the youth don't want to go on the foundation that we've laid. They want to try something new. And as long as they are going or using the foundation of integrity and respect for all human beings, I'll try something new. And I'm going to vote yes. Thank you.
We're gonna go with Councilman Whitaker, Councilman Wood, and then Councilman Moody.
Attorney Stromberg, it's been a while since we discussed this issue where you had done some research. Can you refresh us again, if you remember, there are other cities that also pay persons who serve on boards and commissions?
Yes, we did a chart that encompassed Portsmouth, Hampton, Norfolk, Suffolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and Newport News. Not all the commissions and boards were paid in any of the cities. Right. Hampton seems to pay more of their different boards and commissions than any other city. It looks like out of the 16 we have listed, Hampton pays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Norfolk only pays 2, for example. So it varies quite a bit between the cities. Some pay $175 a month, some pay $30 per meeting. It just varies greatly. Chesapeake pays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their commissions and boards, board members. Suffolk pays 3 of their commissions and boards. Portsmouth right now pays 2. It actually doesn't come from Portsmouth. The Transportation District Commission on Hampton Roads, although I think the city reimburses that. So I think indirectly we don't pay that. Board of Equalization in Portsmouth gets paid presently, but that may come through the court system. I'm not positive where that money comes from. Newport News, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of their 16 commissions and boards members get paid.
Right, and there's been no indication that any of those cities have lacked getting participation on those boards.
We didn't investigate that. I don't know.
They're not inactive. There's no indication that they're inactive.
Not that I know of, but
Right.
it's something we didn't investigate.
Those were presently existing boards.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And the mayor presently serves on 2 of the boards that are receiving pay?
I'm not sure.
No, I mean the mayor of Portsmouth.
I don't know.
I thought he serves on the Hampton Roads.
Oh, you're talking about the 2 Portsmouth?
Yeah.
I think he may serve in the Transportation District.
Mhm.
I
He
don't
serves
think he serves on the Board of Equalization.
Oh, no, the Hampton Roads. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a unique concept and something that is novel to Portsmouth.
No.
And one of the reasons that it was brought up was to allow for those who traditionally may not have been able to serve because of the barrier that was mentioned, time issues, childcare, things that are taken into account. And so if persons choose not to accept it, that's their right.
Sure.
But it's nothing unlawful or nor unethical with what is being done, and it is a practice that is occurring across the region.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
And before Councilman Woodard goes, the particular boards and commissions that are being referenced actually do meet at times where they're supposed to be at work and things of that nature as well. Councilman Woodard?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just want to echo my sentiments about it as well. I heard a lot of comments about not accepting the pay. As a substitute teacher, I worked in the school system in Portsmouth Public School and Norfolk Public Schools, and you do have that option to not take pay if, you want to work in the school system. I mean, you have that option to do those things. And I think that, we must make clear to all our volunteers, I think we know that we appreciate your time. And this is something that we want to do to make sure we show you in a monetary way that we appreciate your time. So, I mean, if you want to choose how you want to serve by saying, hey, I don't want any money, I think that's, your choice. But as a council, I think some of us up here are saying, hey, let me show you exactly how we show you that we appreciate what you do for the city. And also you're working. I mean, we can't act like this is just a waste of taxpayers' money. You guys are actually doing a service to the community and on some important boards too, okay? I mean, you guys do a lot of work on these boards to help bring positive results. Like Councilwoman Burke said, she brought a lot of money to the city. Some people appreciate the work that they do, and we do as well. So it's just up to your discretion. I think so. But one of our speakers did say some people can't take off work. We want to make sure that if you can't take off work, you do have the option to do that with making up with lost wages. I mean, I think that's just a good deal for anyone who is struggling in that area. So I think it's a good idea. It's a lot of people that serve on these boards that are excited. I don't talk to them every day, but They are excited about the new direction that this council is going and some of the new ideas that we're implementing in our city. I mean, like Dr. Whitaker said, this is not a new idea. This is not something we just made up. Other cities are doing these things. To look at other cities paying 10 boards and some paying 2, I think us just amplifying our boards and amplifying people putting in applications to be on these boards is something that should be looked at in a different way. It really is. Thank you.
Councilman Moody?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, obviously, this is going to pass. I've been around long enough to be able to count votes, but that doesn't mean it's right. You know, a volunteer, in my opinion, at least I thought, was someone who freely donated their time and talents for an organization or for a cause. And, you know, we always say we love all of our volunteers, and we appreciate them all, but by passing this, it shows that we only appreciate some. We don't appreciate them all. We're not giving them all any monetary reward for attending a meeting, so let's not say that. You know, we'll speak in this case with the bucks. I think it's a wrong move. I think it's an affront to those who've served as volunteers in the past and donated their time and their talents. Most companies I know willingly let their people serve their city and their community. I got involved with the Chamber of Commerce years ago, and I was a sales rep, but my company let me participate. So I think there are many companies still out there that feel that it's an honor to have their employees help their community. So I'm going to vote no to this, and hopefully a future council will see the wisdom of not paying people, because I haven't heard any good justification for doing that here tonight, other than some other cities do it. That hasn't swayed me at all, so I will vote no. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
No problem. Councilman Battle?
Well, first of all, I love all of the board members, and giving somebody money doesn't define whether I love you or not. I love all the citizens in this city. So, again, sometimes we can be old-fashioned and think that our model is the only model, but each generation has its way of building on the blocks or the foundation that we've made. And no city will stop operating because you pay 4 boards, $100 a meeting. And it's not that big a deal to be so adamantly about when there's much larger fish in this city to be fried. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Battle. And a few comments. If Councilman Moody and Councilwoman Lisa Lucas-Burt are suggesting that maybe in the future we pay more boards and commissions, I will definitely be okay with looking into that, because I know from what you said that you want to make sure everybody's appreciated, so I wouldn't mind that maybe one day. Also, just to kind of give you guys an understanding, so the EDA, the PPIC meet at 9 o'clock in the morning now. Planning Commission meets at 1:30 in the afternoon. PRHA meets at, was it 5 o'clock? So, you know, those are during prime time, prime hours for when it comes to your job. And kind of like what one of our constituents said tonight, we don't want to deter anybody for wanting to join a board and commission. Now, $100 may not even help them pay for the gas, the time missed that they're going to do, but it's something. It's something to help them out and make sure that we get the best people to come in and be a part of what the city is doing and part of the direction that we want to go in this city. So I don't think that it will cause any corruption or cause people to do things for money. Truth is, people have been doing strange things for money in this city for a long time. And $100 is not going to make them do anything more. So with that being said, I will be voting for this. Councilman Moody, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to make a substitute motion that we add an addendum to this agenda item, and that addendum would be to exclude liaisons from the $100 payment. And liaisons are members of those boards. We might take it for granted that that's the case, but I want that added to the addendum or to the motion.
I think that's something that our attorney may want to comment on.
Mr. Vice Mayor,
Councilman Whitaker.
the resolution says members of certain boards. We are not members of these boards. We serve as ex officio representatives, so that's not even an issue. So I think we have a motion on the floor.
We have a motion on the floor. We don't have a second.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we had a second. Yeah.
Second?
I second.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear him second.
Well, just to make sure, so moved.
Second.
We have it properly moved in second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor, just before we do that, I believe the conversation was Mr. Moody's motion. It did not receive a second. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
back to the original motion. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And we did have on the books Dr. Whitaker making the motion and Councilman Battles seconding.
Okay.
Okay. You ready for the vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke? No. Mr. Moody?
No.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barnes?
Yes. Council members, do we have any more items to submit? Councilman Moody?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Unfortunately, Portsmouth lost another notable last week in the passing of East Anders Early. Mr. Early had served on this board for a total of 8 years. He was also a very prominent business person. Many of you remember Robbie's Hardware, and even prior to that, his family owned Robertson's Hardware, which was downtown here. But he was also very actively involved in the city, in many organizations. And I think those of us who knew him or anybody that met him would describe him as a true Virginian, very, very nice person, very successful person. So our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife, Barbara, and to his family. And at this time, Vice Mayor, I'd like to call for just a moment of silence in honor of Mr. Early.
Thank you. Councilwoman Burke and then Councilman Battle.
Yes, for those who are not a part of the email blast or may not have known, our mayor is absent today, but I do want to applaud him for being selected for across the world in the 5th class of the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative. He's in New York for the 3 days. It's a year-long program where they will receive programs delivered by faculty at the Harvard Business School and the Harvard Kennedy School as world-class experts from the Bloomberg Philanthropists Global Network. So we do applaud our mayor for being selected to participate in that. It is at no cost to the city, and we do wish him well in that year-long program.
Councilman Battle?
I'd like to have a moment of silence for all our youth that we've lost and for all of the good citizens who have passed in recent days. Thank you.
Councilman Whitaker and then Councilman Woodard.
Yeah. This is a pending item that we discussed, and it's for the city manager. If we could, if there's no objection from council, at our next meeting, have an update on our disparity study and our minority contracting policy. We have had a couple of projects that we have voted on, and one of the stipulations in the ordinance that we passed dealt with dealing with the disparity issue with development. And in each of those presentations, I heard nothing on minority contracting. And so I think we need to make sure that we are operating within the ordinance, and also that our disparity study is updated.
Councilman Woodard?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This is for the city manager. I don't know if we could do a traffic study by Victory Elementary on Greenwood Drive. It's a lot of concerns and complaints coming from the residents over there. They're saying they can't get out during school hours. It's excessive speeding. I think it was once a plan on the table to divert some of that traffic through that neighborhood to I forgot which street is cutting through that by Charles Pete. I forgot what street that is. Elliott, that's what it is. It was a plan on the table to go to Elliott, but I think that's been scrapped. So I didn't know if we could do something to figure out what we can resolve some of these traffic issues. Also, it's been concerns of possibly put an additional sidewalk on that road. I think their sidewalk has been cut off, and they've been saying, kids have been in trouble with these cars that's been speeding by. So, I don't know if we can really get an eye on that. And moving on, I presented speed bumps last time. I got a new street. They're saying it's excessive speeding on Hartford Street. I don't know what's going on. Everyone getting fast cars now or something, but it's definitely becoming an issue and in danger to our kids. So if you can, let me know via email, or if we can get a report back for council. I think that's something we really need to look into. I think you have the streets from our previous council meeting that we need to look into.
Yes, I just wanted to respond that's one of the items that was requested last week, but given the fact that we're trying to look at all the options, recognizing that speed bumps is the go-to solution, but with that, we also have to consider the impact to our fire engines, the impact to cars, so that's not necessarily the best approach. So we wanted to provide options and look at each issue separately. And so we'll just add these others, and we'll work to get that by the next meeting. We should have some options in how we plan to address some of the traffic calming in the neighborhoods.
Thank you very much. And just moving on, I just want to give a big shout out to everyone who participated in the Fishbowl Parade. Our Mayor Glover was in attendance. He was leading the parade. Our city manager, you was in attendance, right? You supposed to be there, but
That's one of the ones I'm in the process of moving, so I'm using some executive judgment as to when I can participate.
I knew you was missing, so she's supposed to attend it, but we had our sheriff there as well, our deputy sheriff, so I was in the parade. Our prosecutor was there and other known elected officials. We also had a lot of small organizations there, dance teams. Just shout out to Portsmouth for coming together as a community and really having a great day, a great time of positivity. You know, there was no violence, there was no distractions, no fights. It was just a good time for Portsmouth. These are the things that we have to continue to do in our city to build our community. So big shout out to you guys. You know, it's a lot of stories that's going on throughout Portsmouth. We can't stop everything, but you know, when we can get a day of rest and positive news, that's what we are all about, and that's what we want to continue to build here in Portsmouth. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Councilwoman Burke.
Yes, I want to add one. I had received so many comments about the concert last Friday night, the Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. Was a great crowd, sold out, no violence, a great time of diverse group of people coming together, and people are ready for the next concert. So I think you're a liaison to them. Tell them to bring on the next concert because the community is ready for that.
So, just Councilman Woodard.
And I left one more person out that was in the parade. Our vice mayor was there as well. You know, I'm so sorry to disrespect you. You know, you got the lead tonight and everything, and you know, and I took the lights off you, but our vice mayor was at the parade as well. So, thank you.
Well, I was in the parade and I was working with somebody, and then I was talking to the constituents, and they just got so far past me. But to go back to the parade, it was a lot of people out there, a lot of organizations in the city, a lot of good people participating in this parade. So I want to give a big shout out to all the organizations, all the people who participated and made this event great. We had a lot of people there, and a lot of people that we haven't seen in a while because of the pandemic. So it was good to get back and see some of the people in Portsmouth. After I left the parade, I was able to attend the Portsmouth Bruins football game, which was in Cavalier Manor. They had their first home game. Their new organization used to be called the Cavalier Manor Spartans. Then they went to the Cavalier Manor Raiders, and now they are the Portsmouth Bruins. But the Portsmouth Bruins is a mixture of the Portsmouth Inner City Panthers and the Cavalier Manor Football League, and they wanted to come together to do something real big for our city. So shout out to them for making that happen. Also, those are some of the things when I talk about putting money out there for youth organizations, those organizations like that who have been around for years and doing great things with our children, because this organization has over 150 kids in it, which means they have over 150 parents, which is something that we can get information to kind of deter some of this crime in this city. Because one thing about sports is that we always talk about sports and say that, you know, we want to get people together for sports or whatever the case may be, but that won't change the crime or whatever the case. But the truth is that once you get kids to do what they want to do, you can teach them things that they need to know. So once we can get them on a football team or get them in a gym, then we can tell them the things that they need to know to deter them from crime. I coach a basketball team, and so I'm vice mayor in my spare time, but one of the things I do most is be involved with the youth. And I had this child who he was mad because he had a scar on his arm, and he was very argumentative because we did shirts and skins, and he didn't want to take his shirt off because he was feeling some type of way about that scar. He didn't want to show it off, but he wouldn't verbalize it, so he would react in a manner that was more so aggressive. He was being disrespectful. But I knew that was the case with him because I've been coaching him for a while. And I eventually was able to talk to him and explain to him certain things, and he came back, took his shirt off, and he was good. Those are the type of things that sports do. So when we do this process with the $1.5 million that we have, we don't need a lot of new people to the table. We already have a lot of good organizations in the city who deal with a lot of kids and deal with a lot of parents who can help us deter some of this crime. We have, like I said, the Portsmouth Bruins, the Olive Branch Little League, the Charles Peak Little League, the Churchland Little League, the Churchland Football Association, Manor Basketball, Churchland. There's a lot of organizations that we need to not wait till they come to the table and ask us for something. We need to go to the table and get them, because they've been doing a lot of things in the city for years, and they can really help with a magnitude of kids and parents to help with the issues that we have in our city. And also, City Manager, I would like in our next meeting, I would like to get a report back and a presentation regarding our fourth floor as it pertains to businesses, permits, inspections, et cetera. I would like to know the time. I would like to know the time frame that it takes other cities on these items and how long our process has been around and how we can make it better. If there's no objection from council. And also regarding the Blighted Properties Initiative, I wanted to know how aggressively are we going after them? Because I know, for instance, it's not just houses. There's a lot of businesses that's been blighted in this area. If you go down Deep Creek Boulevard, you have that white store that's been sitting there for 400 years. And it's horrible for the community. And I think that's something that we need to do something about. So I want to know, how aggressively are we going out? Are we looking into doing things with that particular property and other properties like it?
I will definitely try to meet that deadline, but the information you're requesting may take some time, so it may not be the next meeting, but the meeting after.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Vice Mayor Barnes, I can tell you that our office proceeded with 2 criminal blight cases successfully. Business on Turnpike Road under the criminal blight statute, and a property in Afton that the citizens of Craddock were complaining about. We had moved forward with 2 criminal blight, can't call them prosecutions, but actions, and one tenant has already been kicked out by the landlord. And so those 2 have been fairly successful. And we're going to develop a list with the police and just go after them, all the criminal blight. The derelict structure is a different statute that the building official would guide us on. But he takes down a house almost once a month, I understand. But we can get those lists, and we're planning to do that and continue this program.
And we'll get a presentation regarding the blighted. Okay. Did you have something to say? Oh, I thought you was about to say something. And also, when I was out at the Cavalier Manor, Portsmouth Bruins, to make sure I say the new name, I noticed again the concession stand boarded up. And this organization had 4 games. They had teams here from Suffolk and other cities, and it was kind of embarrassing to see that new facility boarded up. I know we asked for an update regarding that, and we were told that we were moving forward. I think the material was coming in. Where are we at on that now?
They're finishing up they've put in the electrical, and to my knowledge, we're getting an update as to when they can finish that project up by tomorrow morning. The engineer is supposed to report back to me in terms of the status, because he's been given directive to try to get that contractor to work overtime, and recognizing that we want that open to be able to enjoy that facility for activity. And so he's given me an update on that tomorrow.
Okay, can we get an update in the next
Yes.
meeting regarding that?
Mhm.
And my last point to the citizens of Portsmouth, I know we just had a press conference the other day, and as you see it regarding the crime is still happening. Actually, in the last couple of days, it's gotten worse. So my question to the city manager I know we had a press conference presenting some type of plan. Can we get that plan sent to all the council members, and also the details that we can put out to the citizens? Because what I heard in the press conference was kind of broad. So can we get that sent out?
The press conference focused on standing together against crime. There was not a plan specifically for the press conference. The press conference was a result of the crime reduction strategy plan that has been presented previously, where we're implementing components of that plan. So what I can present is the status of where that comprehensive crime reduction strategy plan is at this point and what we're still working on.
Well, I conclude my time. We will move on to 21-295, report on pending items. City Manager.
I do not have any pending items.
We go on to 21-296, non-agenda speakers. Madam Clerk, can you read the speaker statement? Yes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, City Council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. As you approach the speaker's podium, you will notice a timer. At the beginning of your 5 minutes, you will see a green light. 4 minutes into your remarks, you will notice a yellow light. At the end of 5 minutes, you will see a red light, hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude his or her comments.
Thank you. Our first speaker is Mr. Mark G. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening again, Mr. Acting Mayor, council members, and other neighbors. So, in addition to former council member Saunders Early, in just a couple of weeks past, we've lost 2 other notable citizens of Portsmouth, Mr. Roger Brown and Dr. Catherine Kersey. I knew her not only as a pillar of this community, but from my studies at ODU. She was a prominent member of the early childhood education faculty at my alma mater. In addition to the Fishbowl Parade on Saturday, the Portsmouth Humane Society had its annual Cause for Paws, and that was extremely well attended. Our household canine made her first appearance in the cause and had a great time sniffing in unfamiliar places. The main text of my remarks tonight goes back to a discussion that occurred here about teaching people to fish versus giving fish away. I think the original only addresses male members, but it applies equally well to female members. And there was an instance where somebody could have been taught to fish, but wasn't. So there were numerous trips to this podium to critique the absence of information about a variety of grants. Well, the problem was not that there wasn't information about the grants that were presented, but about understanding how to access that information. And I think it's important that we have some sort of a how-to manual at the website for digging into the information that's presented on the council agenda. A lot of people, myself included, receive the summary agenda courtesy of the city clerk's office. But the summary agenda has no link to the background information. It is only the agenda that's posted on the city website. And if you navigate to portsmouthva.gov, and on the left-hand side, there are a number of major headings, one of which is minutes and agendas. So if you click on minutes and agendas, that takes you to a page that has a chronological, in descending order, list of council agendas. And if you go to the specific date that you're interested in, you get a PDF that opens in another window with links within it to the background information. The same information that council members receive. You used to receive a booklet every meeting, but now I believe you receive the links. So citizens need to know that there is information behind the information, and then they can fish for themselves and not criticize city staff for failure to provide pertinent information. That would save a lot of time for y'all, for me as an interested observer, and for those who might have issues with the dearth of information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Moody brought it to my attention that we honored Mr. Roger Brown not too long ago. Next speaker, Ms. Joyce Tasby. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. To our Vice Mayor, City Council members, and also city officials, my name is Chief Apostle Joyce White Tasby. I am not new to Portsmouth. I was raised in Portsmouth, educated in the public schools, went to Norfolk State College at that time. It was a division of Virginia State, Petersburg. I just received an honorary degree. I would like to say to you all this evening, we have a group of organizations. It's called the Tidewater Coalition for the People. They are organizations, businesses, profit and nonprofit. Not only that, they're corporations themselves that have been around for over 15, 20, some 40 and 50 years. We would like to offer a solution to the crime. It's one thing to talk about it, but to have a strategic, long-term, effective change that will not just for this generation, but to extend to generations 20 and 30 years down the road. The only reason why I'm still alive to this day, my business, is because I had long-term goals for the people that supported my business in the city of Portsmouth and the Hampton Roads area. I may be news to some of you all, but not to all of you all. We have produced some of the best and most professional musicians, actors, also teachers, ministers, and people that have gone on to be professionals in their own areas of expertise and craft. And the people that are in this organization are able to do the same. They are educators themselves, politicians that's a part of this organization, businesses that are offering job training, as well as on-the-job training. We work with certain universities and colleges that have given my students in the past full scholarships upon completion of high school. We have tutoring programs, and as we know, not just Portsmouth is suffering in education, but across the board. And this evening, different members are here that are going to share with you all what we would like to have as a strategic plan to bring in a strength and unity to our families. Because if you empower your family, you empower your neighborhood. When you empower your neighborhood, you empower your community. When you empower your community, you empower your city, and everybody wins. And everybody want to be on the winning side. And because I am on the winning side, I'm able to give this to our community. Portsmouth, I remember Mr. Holly, Mayor Holly would say, the citizens of the people, how much he loved them. And I think that we all have that one thing in common. We love our people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Epps. You have 5 minutes.
Vice Mayor, City Council. My name is Anthony Epps, and
Speak into the mic.
my name is Anthony Epps, and I'm a business owner here in Portsmouth. I've been here in the city for 71 years myself, and proud business person. My business is financial and estate planning. As a member of the Tower Coalition with Apostle Tasby, she'd asked me to come in and provide my services to individuals in the city of Portsmouth, and also extend my business to people who are looking for work in the area of financial and estate planning to for us to come and help and assist them in getting license and insurance and other financial services. And I just wanted to come in and speak on that behalf to assist Apostle Tasby and citizens of Portsmouth to be of assistance to do so. Thank you.
Caitlin Burnett. I'm sorry, Catherine Burnett. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor and members of council, my name is Kathleen Barnett. I chair the Education Committee of the Tidewater Coalition for the People. A native of Portsmouth, I began my education career here more than 4 decades ago, and now serve as a teacher assistant in the city of Virginia Beach, having been chosen as the Teacher Assistant of the Year for the city of Virginia Beach 2018-2019. I address you this evening on behalf of the hundreds of students who were performing 2 to 3 grade levels below their peers prior to the pandemic. That gap has only widened, and with social promotion, it continues to get wider. Social promotion is the practice of moving and advancing a child to the next grade level, even though that child has not mastered standards, skills, and concepts on his current level. So when these students start a new school year, they start at a disadvantage. They have many challenges to face. The teachers face challenges with these students, and their classmates as well. Also, their social and emotional issues. This past summer, a team of volunteers designed a program to help a group of these children. My Space, My Pace Educational Support Program collaborated with teachers, identified some students, grades 2 through 5, who would benefit from one-on-one instructions to reach back and retrieve those lost and missing skills. They worked with these students 4 days a week, 3 hours a day, for 5 weeks. Each child had their very own classroom space, courtesy of my church, Unity Renaissance Spiritual Life Center in Chesapeake. These children created, explored, asked questions, answered questions, role-played, sang, danced, meditated, did dramatic play, performed experiments, were read to daily, and also did daily reading. They were taught by retired volunteer teachers who were enthusiastic and excited about what was going on. They used effective strategies, and each child had their customized lesson plan, planned by me, and every child none of the children used Chromebooks. However, We do have a Zoom account in case we do have to go back to virtual. These students engaged in group activities, field trips each week to further enhance their experience and to make up for some of the lost learning and to fill social gaps. It was a totally integrated curriculum, and the program was fully funded by volunteers, our friends in the community. Although we celebrated many victories and breakthroughs in learning, 5 weeks is hardly enough to help these children fill those gaps that they have. So we have continued working with them throughout the school year, in the library, on weekends, in breakout rooms, still one-on-one, and it works, but it also requires work. We want to create learning hubs within the community, in churches, rec centers, wherever there are safe, adequate spaces available. We want to train parents to become investors in how they implement strategies to help their own child catch up, and we need funding to continue this. This need will not be met in the traditional classroom setting, which is now 20-plus students all over again. It has not been met, and our phenomenal educators are doing all they can to ensure success for these children. I see it every day. I'm right there with them. When this issue hits closer to home and affects children we know and love, then we begin to see all children as our children. Our children deserve a chance to catch up, and everyone can help. This task is way too big for the school system to handle alone. Our coalition is doing its part by planning pop-ups for parent training within the community, teaching parents how to help that child that is lagging behind year after year because of social promotion and other factors. It's not their fault, and no one person is to blame. So in the words of Dr. Seuss's famous character, the Lorax, unless people like us care a whole awful lot, things won't change for our children. Indeed, they will not. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Oscar Saunders. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, councilmen, council members, and staff. My name is Oscar Saunders, and I am the owner and operations manager for MKO Logistics Corporation. It's a trucking company based here in the city of Portsmouth. We are here as members of Tidewater Coalition for the People, and I look to service the community by providing jobs for the city of Portsmouth and its citizens. We specialize in dry van hauling, both in a regional and on the road, over the road capacity. We also provide training for truck dispatching in the city, and as well as general knowledge for the CDL courses to try to provide a leg up for people that are interested in becoming drivers. We want to provide the citizens with the independent ability to develop their own entrepreneurship endeavors and reach their goals as business owners in the trucking industry. Myself, I'm a certified CDL driver with several years of experience. I'm a graduate of Virginia State University and a graduate of the Portsmouth Public School Systems. And again, I'm here on behalf of the Tidewater Coalition for the People. We want to just sit here and provide better opportunities for the people in the city of Portsmouth. We love our city, and I thank you for your time, and I yield my time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Walter Carter. Doesn't look like Mr. Carter is in attendance. Our next speaker is Ms. Sunshine Swenson. You have 5 minutes.
Greetings, Vice Mayor, members of City Council, City Manager, and staff. I am here to ask Council for your assistance with helping restaurant owners in our quest to keep our customers safe in and around our facilities. There has been a lot of conversation surrounding the uptick in gun violence within our city. However, I have not heard much discussion surrounding the impact it has had to our small businesses. Allow me to give you some insight. The narrative that Portsmouth is not safe has a significant decrease in our revenue, patron traffic, as well increase in our individual costs. When an establishment holds an ABC license, whether it is a restaurant, coffee shop, or convenience store, we have an increased responsibility by law to provide a safe environment. This comes at a premium, especially during these critical times within our city. This past weekend, there was a stream of gun violence that took place around and near High Street. As an event was letting out across the street from my establishment, a shooting took place. My staff and I fast act and helped the individual who was wounded. We later learned he was shot 5 times. This shooting happened on a crowded street with hundreds of bystanders. Things could have been a lot worse. If police presence was there, things could have been a lot better. My team initiated our security plan effectively, thus potentially saving a life. Now, like many other business owners, we are faced with a need for further assistance to ensure the safety of our patrons and our staff. Currently, to enlist the city's help, a Portsmouth business owner has to pay roughly about $400 per night minimum, upwards to $800 to $1,000. Now imagine a business running a 7-day-a-week operation. Our budgets just can't support that environment. Our revenue is down. We're cutting staffing hours, and reducing service just to meet these costs. Owners should not be faced with this decision, either providing a living wage for our staff or securing our facilities. We're asking City Council to ensure that our business owners are included in this conversation. Resources are extended to help us, and our needs are considered. We need a police presence to help to reduce the potential of violence, and we should not have to struggle to do so. We can play a major role, in helping reduce the gun violence within our city and eliminate the stigma that Portsmouth is not a safe place to dine or socialize. When patrons feel safe, they spend money within our city, thus increasing our meal and beverage revenue. Our businesses can help and be on the front line, and together we can help save many of lives. Our police officers are absolutely amazing, and their presence can deter more than we know. They deserve the money that they are requesting to provide this extra duty. It's just hard for business owners to be able to keep up. We need the city to partner with us in this financial burden to ensure that we help secure our city. Here is what we're calling to ask for. 1, a supplement or elimination of the cost to hire police officers in late hour businesses. Frequent patrol of establishments during closing times of ABC regulations, as well as a seat at the table when developing a plan to curb gun violence within our city. I thank you for this opportunity, respectfully.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Mr. Griffin Oddie. Doesn't look like he's in attendance. Our next speaker is Mr. Willie Brown.
Good evening to everyone here. My name is Willie Brown Jr., and I'm representing the Tidewater Coalition for the People. I'm the founder and CEO of Big Mind Entertainment and Big Mind Dreamers. And I'm also a retired disabled veteran. I served 24 years, 9 months, 17 days, and 10 hours, but not counting that. I'm also a radio personality for WTJZ Praise Radio 92.5 and 104.9. The Tidewater Coalition has really been instrumental in helping my organization. We basically try to help when we talked about the gun violence and the thing. I was just recently interviewing the kids there at Heritage High School. I helped with the prayer vigil, providing sound. And so we try to help the kids with another way of doing things. And Big Mind Dreamers, was birthed from a young 5-year-old child sitting next to his mama. As she played for church on Tuesday nights in Connecticut. This young man would watch his mama play and also had an idea that she should do something different. And of course, she would tell them, "You've got the biggest mind ever," and that had stayed with me since I was 5 years old. Big mind dreamers came out of a young boy, and that was me, was birthed to bring an end to the epidemic of low self-esteem for those who could not finish their studies or play in activities or pursue their passions because a loved one was sick or they had to take care of somebody or money was tight. Big Mind was birthed from an Air Force officer who was injured in combat and spent over 9 years, in a wheelchair, to where the doctor said that he would never walk or talk again, who tried unsuccessfully twice to take his life because he could not do those things that he used to do. That person is me. So our program mentors youth 10 to 17 adults to overcome what they could have done, what they could be doing, and what they think they could not ever do again. So we have programs to help their self-esteem through the avenues of media, promotion, and music. Even everybody has an opportunity to do something. We teach them even the smallest, even the most minute position is important. I went to the concert on Friday night, and even the person that had the overalls on, going backstage carrying cords and wires, there were people who were envious of him because he had access to an area that the concert goer didn't have. So every position is important, and that's what we try to teach them. And I really appreciate the Tidewater Coalition for all her help, Pastor Tasby, in steering us in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Les Smith. You have 5 minutes.
Vice Mayor Barnes, members of council, good evening. My name is Les Smith. I'm a resident of Chesapeake. I'm a member of the Tidewater Coalition for Young People. I'm a retired deputy sheriff with 28 years of service in Chesapeake Sheriff's Office. Now I'm currently a business owner with life insurance and financial literacy. I bring to the coalition my services of mentoring young men ages 12 through 19 with a program called Ground Zero Development. We have provided mentoring services since 2014. Some of the mentees from our program have entered the working world, attending Morehouse University, Norfolk State University, Bradford University, the U.S. Navy, and we have rising juniors and seniors in some of Hampton Roads public schools. Our focus has been to teach our young men basic life skills to become accountable, educated, responsible, trouble-free individuals, to be articulate and work towards being productive citizens. We have exposed them to open conversations where we have group mentoring sessions. Those enrolled in the program must attend 12 mentoring sessions, a minimum, to graduate from our program. Graduates receive a certificate, a gift card, and a small party, food outing, where we may go get pizza, or we may have sandwiches and what have you, or cupcakes. Anyone that graduates from the program can continue with the program and gain a second graduation or a third graduation until such time they age out at the age of 20. The group mentoring is cost effective. It allows them to learn from one another in a group setting. It teaches the mentors some things. We hold them accountable, and they hold their peers accountable. And it increases their social skills. We give them the opportunity to express themselves, ask questions, go places, and learn new things. We have gone to the Tide games, Norfolk State football games, bowling, riding on the ferry, which was something new for me as well, to Williamsburg, and going go-kart riding. And our last excursion, we went fishing at Ocean View. If only you could see these kids, the smile on their faces, it's amazing. So it's gratifying to me when I see that happens. It places them in a different environment than what they are accustomed to. and lets them know they have options or that there are other alternatives. I will share with you approximately 10 of the 30-plus mentoring sessions that we have covered over the years that we think will be effective with the young men in Portsmouth if given the opportunity. At your leisure, I would also like for you all to visit our website, www.groundzerodevelopment.info, and we're always looking for volunteers to help us with our mentor program. Right now, we have a combination of educators, law enforcement, current and former law enforcement, and the military. We have 2 signature events a year. In the spring, we have a youth conference for both boys and girls. And in the fall, we have what we call Team Up Communities and Law Enforcement. So that will actually be happening this upcoming Saturday, October the 2nd, at Chesapeake City Park. That brings law enforcement and the community together and kids together so they can interact with one another, because there's a problem on both sides. So it's important that we bring them together. So that program we'll be having on October the 2nd. I want to go over a few of the sessions that we covered so you have some idea. I talk about the topics and also a little caption. Breaking the invisible chains. Session shares with young men to free themselves of bad habits, focus on being progressive individuals and not letting obstacles prevent them from being successful. Free of negative thoughts, negative persuasion, and negative history. So I can't go on with the captions, but I go on with the titles because I got less than a minute. Boy Meets Girl, Colorblind, Current Events we talk about, Finances Fuels Our Future, Giving in the Spirit, Hands Up, I'll share this one. Session is geared to share information with our young men on respect, respect for another, respect for their elders, and respect for the law. Only education and communication will help young people understand how to stay out of harm's way when interacting with the police. How do I look? We're talking about how kids dress. No pants sagging off the hip. We teach them how to tie ties, taking care of their hygiene, making sure that they're well groomed. And lastly is I Am My Brother's Keeper. Session focus on sharing with young men ages 12 and up, self-esteem, self-worth, responsibility, and holding their peers accountable. And the list goes on and on. Thank you for your time.
Councilman Woodard has a question.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. How you doing, Mr. Les Smith? I got a question, and thank you to the whole Tidewater Coalition. We appreciate all your services that you guys do for various kids throughout the 7 cities. I just wanted a simple question. How many kids did you work with maximum at one time?
Maximum at one time is about 30.
About 30. And this is probably with your trips or whatnot. You know, I just
trips normally smaller.
Smaller,
amounts,
okay.
Yes, but as far as group sessions, 30 has been the max. Right now we're doing virtual because of COVID, but prior to that we were meeting twice a month, and we was doing it at one of the community centers. Yes, okay. 2 Saturdays a month for 90 minutes.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Les Smith, and I appreciate all your hard work that you're doing with the kids.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Council members, seeing we have no additional business for consideration. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just since there were so many speakers from the organization, if one of those representatives could see the city manager and get the process for what we're about to do.
So what he said was, would you guys after the meeting get with our city manager and kind of set up a meeting and talk regarding the things that you guys do and see how we can interpret that? Council members, since we have no additional business to handle, I adjourn the meeting.